because I'm out of here in 3 months, and that's what we're doing. And I am going to be a career girl, like those are the terms. And
by the way, those are the terms of every high school relationship, whether they're spoken or not.
Dear Shandy. Welcome back to Dear Shandy, listeners. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing okay.
Oh, good. Yeah. Great.
Yeah, how are you?
You're playing it off all cool, like our lovely caller didn't just show you a cat.
Why do you have to remind me about the cat? I'm trying to do a job here.
Okay. Stay focused. Sorry to distract you. We are joined today by a lovely caller and cat owner named Elizabeth. Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me and my cat with you.
Do you mind giving us your age, the age of the person in question? I know there is a person in question. And your city or region, whatever you're comfortable sharing, and your story, please.
Yes, I'm Elizabeth. I'm 23, and I think that fact might be a point of contention later. I'm currently in Kansas, and the person in question is 24. He is in Colorado, but he's in the process of moving to Oklahoma.
Wait, Sarah, can you say the cities one more time? You are in Kansas?
I'm in Kansas. Mm-hmm.
He's in Colorado, and he's moving to Oklahoma.
Transitioning to Oklahoma.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Just checking.
Which is a plot point, so that's why I mentioned it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I thought that was going to lead to him moving to Kansas, and then when you said Oklahoma, I was like, Oklahoma.
Well, Oklahoma's closer to Kansas than Colorado.
That's true.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. Look at you.
I know my geography.
Yeah, flexing over there.
In the country that I live in.
Very impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Elizabeth, do you mind giving us the story? What's going on?
Okay, what's going on is, once upon a time, I was 17 years old, and I was in high school, and I was dating a boy, and this boy had a best friend, and I also had a best friend. So my boyfriend's best friend and my best friend dated one another. I feel like I need one of those like cork boards with the red strings or a flow chart for the shandies. So if it gets confusing, let me know and I'll clarify. So we're all hanging out, right, in this little 4-person squad, the 2 couples, me and my boyfriend's best friend, and my best friend. So it's high school and we're clingy. So we do everything together as this, little 2-couple situation. And I start noticing the more that I am around this other couple, my boyfriend's best friend, that I have some kind of feeling for the boyfriend's best friend.
Okay, and this is circa 6 years ago.
Yes.
Okay, so you start developing feelings for your boyfriend's best friend.
Right.
And also your best friend's boyfriend.
Right. So you can see how that would be problematic.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I stuffed those feelings down and I continue to date my boyfriend. Eventually, because high school relationships, both of these couples dissolve. So everybody's all broken up. But during the time that we were together, we would hang out together all the time. So I got to know the boyfriend's best friend very well. So
I think I know where this is going. But.
Oh, this is an incredibly predictable story. Okay. So then the now ex-boyfriend's best friend starts dating another girl. That girl cheats on him with my ex-boyfriend.
I just want to make sure I've got this right. So the ex-boyfriend's friend, so the one you had a crush on, starts dating another girl who cheats on him with your ex-boyfriend.
Correct.
Wow, this is all so incestuous. You knew I was going to say that.
I did, but unfortunately, I think it gets a little bit worse. I don't know. Well, that remains to be seen.
Is there I may need do you have a whiteboard?
I wish. I'm telling you, I wish I had the red string situation going
This is
on.
it's like a crime organization.
I know. Or I should have brought their headshots in and put them all up. The ex-boyfriend's now best friend has been cheated on by this girl. So now this has all happened, and it's February of my senior year of high school. I'm 18 now, and it's Valentine's Day night, and I'm sitting at home and I'm lamenting about how terrible it is that I, an 18-year-old girl, am alone on Valentine's Day evening And I get to thinking, I know who's also alone on this Valentine's Day night.
Ooh.
And I know that we're alone because we've been wronged by the same person. Isn't that terrible? I should talk to that person. So.
Oh, sorry. Quick TO. Were you wronged by your ex-boyfriend then? You said the relationship dissolved.
Well, that's being generous. It was not a great ending.
Okay. It did not. He wronged you in the end.
Yes, but that would be a whole separate point.
Okay, that's not important. And the ex-boyfriend's friend's girlfriend cheating on him with your ex-boyfriend ended the two guys' friendship.
Correct.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
So it's Valentine's Day. You know who to call.
Yes. And so I sent him a little text because, like I said, we were great friends when we were all together. And I ask him what he's up to, and he tells me he's at work. He worked the closing shift at a little local restaurant, but he said if it wasn't too late by the time he got off work, he could come over. And I'm like, sure, sounds great. So he comes over at whatever late hour of the night. Everyone in my family's asleep, so he meets me in his car and in my driveway. And he brings a little box of chocolates, which I thought was so darling because I had never received a Valentine. And so we sit in his car and we eat the chocolates and we talk for 3 or 4 hours. We make out a little bit, but not until the end. So we have this great conversation. And after this conversation, we both remark that we've never had such an intimate, immediate connection with person of the opposite sex.
Okay.
And so that's February of my senior year of high school. Graduation was in May, and I knew that I was moving from Oklahoma to Kansas for college. And I started college early because I did summer credits. So while we're having this whole Valentine's Day, whatever we're doing, I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm leaving this state in May and I'm done. Like I'm going to college, I'm going to do my thing. So for those remaining 3 months of high school, we start a friends with benefits situation. Mm-hmm. And I tell this man explicitly to his face, I am never going to fall in love with you and you are not to develop any feelings for me because I'm out of here in 3 months and that's what we're doing. And I am going to be a career girl and you're going to stay here in Oklahoma and I'm not, those are the terms.
And by the way, those are the terms of every high school relationship, whether they're spoken or not.
Should be, right?
Yeah, I mean.
Right? Yeah, don't let anyone follow you to college, ladies.
Yeah, it's a bad move.
It won't go well. So those are the terms, and the terms are accepted by both parties, but I'm sure you can see where this is going.
Quick TO, sorry. Mm-hmm. Is it secret?
It's not secret, but it should have been because this man, again, was my best friend's ex-boyfriend. And so once that tidbit got its way into the high school, my PR was not great. It didn't go over very well.
But was your friend wasn't okay with you being with this? She had some territorial issues with it?
No, she actually told me that she was okay with it because they had, dated for such a short amount of time.
Right. Okay,
and it wasn't very serious. So we had a conversation about it.
She's a good friend. She's a good friend.
Oh, she's
That's what
lovely.
A good friend does. Yeah.
She's the only person that I still speak to besides this man from my past. So she gets all the gold stars.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah. So she was fine with it. The general high school population of conservative Oklahoma was not, not so much a fan.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah. So that was great. A lot of scarlet letter situation.
Wow. So, that's a very small offense to get scarlet lettered for.
Yeah. And it's very high school. I feel like everyone has had a similar.
Yeah.
But anyway, those are the terms, but you can tell where this is going. I can feel myself developing feelings, and I can also sense this guy developing more than sexual feelings for me. And like I said, I had very strict plans of I'm leaving at this time. And at this point in my life, I was also incredibly self-destructive. I'd had a really messy home situation recently happen, and life is hard when you're 18. Yeah. And poor me. And so I was really self-destructive and felt A, like I was not deserving of love, and B, like I was not capable of giving that to someone. And this guy was nothing but wonderful. super sweet. He has a horrible family life, but has not let that embitter him. He's just this incredible person with this incredible outlook on life and was nothing but wonderful. And so I did not want to destroy this poor boy. And I was scared of what we had. And so instead of talking to him about all of these things like a responsible young adult, I ghosted him, essentially. Right. So
when you left for Kansas?
Yeah. So I kind of just stopped replying to his attempts to get together. And then he finally got a hold of me one day and I said, oh, well, I'm moving next week and I have so much to do in this next week that I just don't think I'm going to be able to see you. Sorry. Which was a real bitch move on my part. So
it's high school. You can do whatever you want.
And I've learned from it, hopefully. But yeah, it was not
your finest.
Not my best moment. Right.
Okay.
That's how we ended things. And that was almost 5.5 years ago. So in those 5.5 years, I've had a variety of different relationships, from flings to very serious. And my most recent relationship just ended 6 months ago. I got my heart obliterated. I dated a guy for 2 years, and after our 2-year-ish anniversary, remarked that I was thinking about marriage and that is a direction that I was wanting to head in because we'd been together for 2 years. And he basically expressed to me that he wasn't sure how he felt about our relationship. He knew, though, that he didn't want to get married and he didn't think that he was going to change his mind. So he did me a favor and cut the cord. But that all happened 6 months ago. So 6 months ago, I was now on the tail end of heartbreak and feeling that kind of for the first time. And so I start feeling really terrible about everything that happened 5.5 years ago. And so in this in-between time, I had unfollowed the man in question on all the social medias. I had deleted his number because of a fight with the ex that I just mentioned. He was aware that I still had contact information for my exes, and it led to a big conflict. And so I
interesting.
Deleted all the contact information. Right. So I'm wondering if maybe I was, when talking about my past, if it was evident that I still had feelings. You know what I'm saying?
Or maybe your ex was the jealous kind. I don't know. That seems extreme.
Yeah.
To delete everything, unfollow and everything. I don't know.
It's a little extreme. I don't know
you're
how,
still holding a torch.
These kids operate nowadays.
Kids these days.
I still send people LinkedIn messages. So.
All right. So you start feeling bad, and I assume you want to reach out to the high school.
Yes, and I want to reach out. It's also worth noting, because this is a very important plot point later, that in all of this, I spontaneously become Catholic. So I'm now experiencing good old Catholic guilt for the first time in my life. Yeah, I was not raised with any religious background. It was all a very sudden personal decision. So I'm going to confession. I'm doing all the things. I'm feeling really terrible. I decide I want to reach out. And it took me until 2 weeks ago to work up the nerve to do that. So I've been thinking about this man consistently for 5.5 years, but really, really heavily for the past 6 or so months since this breakup. So 2 weeks ago, I refollow him on Instagram. I find him, I unblock him, I follow him, whatever. And I send him a message. And my intent was to apologize, but I started out very innocuous, as you do. You know, I didn't want to come in guns a-blazing. So I knew, had moved to Colorado. I am beginner mountain climber. There's a bunch of mountains in Colorado I'm trying to climb. So I've been making a bunch of trips out there and considering moving there after I finish grad school this May. So I was just innocently asking, is Colorado as fun as it seems on vacation, or does it suck to live there?
Why don't you come out and visit me? That's what he said, right?
Obviously.
Well, we're we're getting there. So,
okay. That cut to the chase.
kind of.
Right.
I don't. We're 13 hours away though, and I'm back in grad school, so it's whatever. So
Okay.
I ask him, what is it like to live there? So we start chatting about innocent, small talk about what it's like to live in Colorado, and eventually he tells me, if you don't want to talk to me anymore, don't feel like you have to keep a conversation going with me. And I'm like, oh shit, he doesn't want to talk to me.
No, he still has feelings for you. Wow.
This is why
he still has feelings.
How do you
for
know?
her. That's why he said that.
Why
would he say that if he didn't have feelings for her?
Because he thinks I'm annoying and wants me to stop blowing up his phone, is what I thought at the time.
No. That's not what you would say.
There's
I would
a
just
man's
ignore
perspective
you.
right
Just
there.
ignore you.
This is partly why I wanted to call, because I was like, I need to hear a man's perspective on all of this, because I've chatted with the girlfriends, but we need.
So you think him saying that was a test?
Yeah, he was basically, he was
giving
showing
her
his
an out.
cards.
But there's a sort of a sad tone to that. It's like,
it's sad
you've
and
ghosted me
showing his
before,
cards.
and therefore you don't need to feel the need to keep this conversation going on now.
Yeah.
You think, okay.
He's like at a poker table and he's like, oh, I have a really bad hand. What do I do? That's what he's saying.
Oh, does he actually have a bad
He's not bluffing either.
Okay.
He just has a bad hand. He shows everybody.
So he's a bad poker player.
He's like, look at this terrible hand. What would you guys do?
Okay, so Elizabeth, he says this. He's like, you can back off if you want. What do you say back?
Yes. I say something along the lines of, well, I really enjoy talking to you. And if you need to go, like if I'm inconveniencing you, that's fine. So then he sends me his phone number and says, well, here's my phone number if you want to chat for real. Okay, so here's where another plot twist comes in. He, for the last almost 5 years, almost as long as we have been not together, has had a steady girlfriend that he lives with in Colorado. In fact, this girlfriend is the reason why he moved to Colorado, because she went to college there and he followed her to live together and continue their relationship. So I look at their Instagram, or his Instagram, but it kind of looks like their Instagram because they have all of these beautiful Insta-perfect pictures of all their vacations and they look so happy. And I'm like, oh, how sad for me, that I've missed this opportunity, but how great for him that he's happy and he has this wonderful relationship. Like, I'm so glad that he got that because he's a great person and he deserves that. So I tell him when he sends me his phone number, I am not a homewrecker and I don't want to cross any boundaries or make anything weird between you and your girlfriend. So if you think it would be appropriate, we can keep talking, but if not, then we don't, because I'm not about to mess up, what you have.
But you're
he
about
reassures
to do.
me that they have a really strong relationship. They communicate a lot. He's actually already told her that we've been talking and that we've reconnected. So it's totally fine. So I send him a text with my number. I'm like, hey, it's me, a ghost from your past. And he sends me out of the blue a whole paragraph, this very romantic, nostalgic paragraph about that Valentine's Day night from years ago, which I thought that I had been over dramatizing. I've been looking back on it like, well, maybe it wasn't that special of a connection and a brief relationship. Maybe it's all in my head, but he sends me this whole thing. So then I full send, call him, and he picks up immediately.
Ooh.
And then, because we've gathered that I'm very long-winded, we talk for 5 hours. Late into the night. And I find out in those 5 hours, I apologize for everything that happened back in the day. And I thought that he was going to tell me, I accept your apology and I'm with this girl now and everything's great and we're going to get married and it's wonderful. And thank you for apologizing. Perhaps we can be friends. That is not what happens. What happens essentially over the course of these 5 hours is we establish that we have both thought about one another for 5.5 years. We have both not felt with any of our subsequent partners the strength of the connection that we felt for those brief few months when we were younger together. I thought that their relationship was solidly heading towards marriage and, was wonderful and peachy like it looked on Instagram, but
I mean, that doesn't make any sense. If the Instagram looked good, they have to have a good relationship. So
Right.
someone's lying here. I think it's you.
It's me.
Okay, so he's pretty much like, actually, my relationship isn't that great.
Yes. And he tells me that I've actually caught him at this crazy crossroads because if I would have reached out a couple years ago, you know, there would have been no 5-hour conversation about lingering feelings. But the girlfriend and him are actually not living together right now. They've been separated for a couple of months because she graduated college in Colorado and moved back to Oklahoma and gave him an ultimatum and said, you either need to move back to Oklahoma or we need to break up. So he's already agreed to move back to Oklahoma. And I caught him just a few weeks too late.
Oh my goodness.
He's moving back to Oklahoma, I think this weekend. I'm pretty sure today was his last
so he's
day of
still
work.
doing it after having spoken with you?
Well, let her
how
finish.
did okay, sorry.
Hold on. I know.
Well,
I know.
that's why I'm calling in, essentially. So this has been a week and a half, which is not that long, but we've had a 3-hour phone call, another 2-hour phone call. You know, we've been talking consistently. And he just sent me a kind of not cryptic, but he sent me a very long text out of the blue last night. So that's kind of where we're at.
Wait, can you, sorry.
Sounds like a cryptic dick pic is next.
I'm Catholic now. I can't.
Oh, you can't accept those. Yeah,
I can't receive dick pics. I don't know.
You blocked dick pics.
Thou shall not receive dick pics.
That's true. That's true. It's your fault for receiving it.
It's the first rule.
Yeah.
Wait, can you describe the cryptic text? What makes it cryptic?
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's actually not cryptic and I don't know how to interpret it. Let's just pull it up. So he texted me last night at 7 p.m. You don't even understand. And I said, what? With many question marks. And then I said, you can't give a line like that with no context. And then 3 hours elapsed at 10 p.m. He said, I'm sorry. And then he tried to call me, and I'm an old woman, so I was already in bed at this point. But he texted me at midnight and said, I'm so overwhelmed at the moment. It feels like I'm going crazy. Everything in the universe is telling me to be with you. Everything in my mind and body too. I don't even know how to function at this point, and it makes me want to disappear. I've talked to a bunch of people, and at this point, everyone is saying the same thing, that it's all about the connection. But I feel like I'm just being a hopeless romantic, or maybe this could be real, and I'm scared because I'm very mentally exhausted.
Okay. I think I know what's going on.
Okay,
there.
and just before Andy dives in here, that's where things are left. You just got that text. He plans on moving to Oklahoma this weekend, and you're just like, what do I do?
And so the logistics are kind of crazy because, beforehand, I set the terms of our relationship, and I said, we only have casual sex, no feelings. Now I'm saying, I'm super Catholic and super celibate, so if we have any kind of relationship, it's going to be a complete 180 from what it was before. We've had these long conversations about how we both are intending to get married in the relative future, which I know Andy will tell me I'm too young, but it's the South/Midwest.
Yeah,
so
yeah. It's a different gauge down.
Yeah,
below
and
the
when you're really
Mason-Dixon.
Catholic and celibate, there's
and also Catholic and celibate. You
I
gotta
was going to say, and now that I'm Catholic, I'm like, I got to have a baby.
Yeah,
pretty soon. Like,
that dam's gonna burst pretty soon.
Exactly. I'm like, I'm losing daylight.
So you told him all this, and he was like, "Oh, I'm receptive."
And he said, if any other woman approached me out of the blue after 5.5 years and said, "Hey, we might be able to get back together, but by the way, you can't touch me," I would say, "Fuck no," and be running for the hills. But because it's you, I'm actively considering this. But he's still with the girlfriend.
Okay, so the question, and I just want to get this out of the way first. With the celibacy, like, is it everything but sex, or can you nothing? You're not doing anything.
Nothing.
Zero. Not even kissing.
Even though you've kissed him before?
I think we can kiss as long as it's not kissing with the sole purpose of arousing one another. Like if it's kissing as an expression. You know what I'm saying?
Andy likes that.
If it's kissing as an expression of our love, like that, Jesus.
So
loves
basically,
that,
like he's like kissing his grandmother. That's the level of kissing we're talking about.
Basically.
All right,
Okay,
that's
no,
great.
but and I won't go on a whole soapbox because the Shandys do not want to be evangelized, and I'm sure neither do you. But it's interesting because like this man and I were both raised in the same conservative evangelical Oklahoma community.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and you've done an episode on purity culture.
Yeah.
You know how damaging that is.
Yes.
And how and so we grew up with that understanding drilled into our brains. The Catholic viewpoint of premarital sex is very different. And yeah, I won't go into the whole thing, but I'm not
But he has background with this. It's not like
So this is not totally foreign to him. Okay. This is you're not like from another planet. Okay.
Right.
So,
you go.
This is what I will say. This guy has had his first real serious relationship right out of high school. Basically kind of on the heels of it started in high school, right?
Right.
So he's extremely not only inexperienced, but also lacking in experience. In both, they're two different meanings.
You're talking about the girlfriend he's with now.
No, the guy.
No, but the guy we're talking about, you're talking about his relationship with the other girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's his only girl. He's been with her since high school.
Other than
but
Elizabeth's.
this doesn't. I'm sorry.
He's had
No
casual
offense.
sex with people in between and breakups and.
Oh, he's broken up with this girl a few times.
I don't know about this one, but
what I'm saying is his emotional maturity and his relationship IQ is extremely low.
Right.
Unless he's a natural out of the gate, like he just knows how to do relationships without any experience, which I know for a fact 99% of the guys I've dealt with do not. I do not. It took me many relationships to figure out how to do it right.
I'm still reeling over the fact that at 23, he was like, if any other woman from 5.5 years ago wrote me.
I know. It's like a scroll, a Jet C scroll of women. This one.
You're the only acceptable one.
I wish that I didn't look so baby faced because I would have lied in my email and been like, we're actually older because I knew that the youngness was going to be.
I don't want it to sound like
no, forget it. It's fine. The age, we're not going to talk about the age.
My sister got married at 23 and is happily married with 4 kids.
Yeah, doesn't she have 4 kids?
4 kids. There you go. Yeah. So there you go.
So listen, the reason I bring that up is because I'm not criticizing him or this situation. What I'm actually saying is he probably has had so little experience that he's just been in this relationship because he's like, this is better than not being in this relationship. But he didn't explore anything. He doesn't know what the world is. He hasn't dated multiple people like you have. And he's basically an 18-year-old in relationship years. So I think that his feelings for you could be very real and very necessary to consummate. I also think that it's possible, since he's so immature in relationship years, that if he were to meet you and you guys hung out, it's possibly like, oh, I'm not into this. Like it'd go right back to his Oklahoma girl. So what I think, and I don't like to be, to propagate home wrecking, but I do think that you absolutely have to meet up with this guy before he goes to Oklahoma.
Okay. So we have a plan. Okay. So I'm from Oklahoma, right? And that's where we all met. So we do have a tentative plan in a month. I have a fall break from grad school and I was like, well, I'll go stay with my parents in Oklahoma and we can meet up when I'm there because he'll have moved back by then. But that's a month from now. And I feel like I am nauseous. This was on an episode a few weeks ago.
I think
you're nauseated.
You are nauseated.
Yeah.
I feel
the
like
situation is
puke.
nauseous.
Yes. I feel like I'm going to puke whenever I think about him. And I just want to rip the Band-Aid and do something soon. I don't know. But there is a tentative plan.
To see each other in person.
Yeah, but why? I don't understand why you looked at me like I was crazy. Why don't you just get coffee with him like a friend just see if you have any rapport whatsoever in person?
Right.
It's just, I really feel like the ball is in his court here.
Oh, I'm not saying she has to spearhead it. I'm just saying if there's an opportunity there and he's presented it, I would take that.
Okay, what I'm adding to this mix is that moving is a pain in the ass.
Yes.
If he is going to move from Colorado to Oklahoma to be with a girl he's not even sure he wants to be with, according to what he's told you, maybe what he's telling you is not really the full picture. He's moving. That's a huge move.
Yeah, but he's passive. Maybe he just doesn't feel, he feels out of control.
Well,
like he's not able to stop himself from
that's
doing it.
possible.
To be fair, he has also said when we talked about what is it like to live in Colorado, it's crazy, stupid expensive. And with the recession, whatever is happening right now, it's getting worse. And he is very homesick and does miss, he doesn't have a ton of family, but does miss family in Oklahoma and misses the job that he had before.
That's important information. So he's kind of killing two birds with one stone. If it fails with her, he's in Oklahoma, which is great. Oh, so that's
important information.
That strengthens my argument further.
And it weakens mine.
Yeah, sorry. So there's only one answer to this. I'm not going to pontificate about whether or not this makes sense, or if he's a scumbag, or if you're crazy, or morally correct. You need to meet him and then decide if it's morally correct. Because if you meet him and you're like, this is not good.
I don't think that's going to happen.
But if it does, are you kidding? I'm not going to name names. I met a girl who I had a similar situation, except it was in college versus high school. I met her 6, not that much longer than you, 6 or 7 years later. And texting was all nice. And then I met her and I was like, no, not happening.
Immediately.
No, I was conscious cleared. I was done. You have to see him. You have to see him before he goes. And that's it.
Before he goes.
Or whatever.
It sounds like he plans on going.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. I just forgot the last thing we talked about. You should see him soon. And don't make it some big romantic getaway. Just like have a normal meeting where you just go to a coffee shop and talk.
You think it should be sooner than this month from now timeline that we've established for when I will be back in Oklahoma?
I don't know if it matters.
I don't think it needs to be sooner. You've made it 5.5 years. But I do have, I want to, sorry, before we get too planny about them meeting, how much did you think about him while you were with your ex?
Well, I really hope that the ex does not listen to this podcast. That's a very loaded question. Enough to concern me.
That's a good, I'm glad you asked that because I skipped that.
Yeah, because
that's important.
It is important because it's not uncommon, and you'll learn this as you get older, that pretty much every time you end a relationship, you think about the ex before that relationship.
That's true.
I think
it's human nature.
I've unfortunately compared most of my relationships to
him.
This feeling that I had with this person.
Okay. All I'll say, because I do feel like the need to I don't know, I feel like the parent in this conversation, like the two of you are like, yeah, go meet him. But I'm
a parent. I'm just a bad parent.
I just feel the need to remind you that when you reached back out to him, you were heartbroken or enduring singledom, like you were not necessarily in the rightest of minds to embark on something. And then there's also the rose-colored glasses factor, and then you feeling guilty about how that ended, and so wanting to rewrite history in that regard. Just a general rose-colored glasses of a connection that, sometimes those are never consummated. Sometimes they're not ever really meant to be revisited. And he's giving you a lot to work with here. So I'm not coming after you.
Just to add to that, they're usually not meant to be revisited. Yeah. But I'm not laying claim to that for this situation necessarily.
Yeah, and it is easy to fall in love with that story. The story of we were high school sweethearts and then we went our separate ways but we kept thinking about each other, and then it's easy to romanticize that. So as long as you are, and you seem aware of all of these things, like it's clear that you've thought about this from all angles at length.
Agonizingly so.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah. Like you said, you are nauseated by this nauseous situation.
Oh, nice.
So I'm not judging you. It's just I want you to consider be rational. And I'm going to be that person that feels a little bad for his girlfriend of 5.5 years.
I am too. And that's kind of why I'm scared, because I would love to meet up and have it be spectacular and us have this wonderful connection again. But then I'm also going to feel terrible because then did I just thwart, somebody else's happiness.
The one thing I'll add to that is, based on what he's told you, they have already broken up several times, correct?
I don't actually know. I just know that they have had
they were separated.
Points where they were close. They're not living together right now, but they're about to be. It's very complicated.
This is not a classic home wrecking situation.
No, it's not.
Number one, they're not married. Number two, they don't have kids. Number three, this seems like a relationship that's been teetering. And now, and certainly now, maybe she doesn't know about that, but it's teetering big time now.
Yeah.
And I think that instead of looking at it as a home wrecking, you can look at it as you're saving her a lifetime potentially of a shitty relationship where the guy's going to lose interest more and more and more and start cheating on her. So right. This is not a situation, and they're young too. This is not a situation where I feel guilty for telling her. I would sit them both down and say, explore this quickly.
No, I see the point you're making. And the fact that it has been rocky already. You said they were living together and then not living together anymore. And I assume that's not because she already moved to Oklahoma and that was a logistical thing. It sounds like they stopped living together separately from her moving back to Oklahoma and separately from you, correct?
Yeah, because he wanted to stay at his job in Colorado a little bit longer. I think from what he told me, she graduated at the end of the school year last year, moved back to Oklahoma to do an internship and stuff. And he was going to move in December, but then ended up moving now. And it's not December. So
yeah, it's quite a bit later. Okay.
So there's I want to add one thing. There's two states of mind in relationships where people act irrationally. One is when they fall in love, truly, and one is when they get their heart broken. So my question to you is, are you in a place right now where you're in the throes of heartbreak, or are you past the irrational phase of heartbreak?
The irrational lasted probably for the first 3 months, and it's been about 6 months now.
Okay, so you're good. You're in the clear mentally on this.
It also, it helps to speed things along when you're the person you've been thinking about for the last 5.5 years is like, oh, I like you too.
That's a really good point.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a powerful motivator.
It is.
I have nothing else to say other than you should meet him. And if there are sparks, great. I don't think it's a full home wrecking. I think that it's the responsibilities on his behalf to fix his situation and make amends there. But you may meet him, and within 15 minutes, like, look at your watch. You're like, we screwed up. You're great on text, but this doesn't work.
I agree with you. And it is with a heavy heart that I'm like, yeah, pursue that, because I do feel like it's not as clean as you'd like it to be. But I also get the impression that it might never be as clean as you want it to be, because I don't picture this guy leaving this relationship unless he has a sure thing with you, like waiting in the wings. It just doesn't strike me.
You're both not going to do this unless it's a sure thing. That's the thing. Don't get stuck in a thing where he's like, okay, I'm going to see you, but I'm going to stay with my girlfriend and we're going to do this on the side. Don't do that. But I will say this, that if he's already left his girlfriend by having this whole interaction with you, he's gone. He's already broken up with her. He just hasn't told her. And I'm not saying he ever will tell her. He may stay with her forever, in which case she's not going to be happy because he's not going to be a good partner. I can promise you that. So in his mind, he has left. He's gone to, what's the song? I've gone to I've gone to Carolina in my mind. It's James Taylor.
Okay.
And I've gone to Carolina in my mind.
Oh,
it's a great song. It's a good one. Thank you. So he's gone. And you don't have to worry about that because he's already cheated on her emotionally big time. Like,
that's why I feel
this is way worse than sleeping with
cheating.
Somebody.
Yes, and that's why I feel so awful. It would almost be easier if I was in my pre-celibate days and we just met and hooked up accidentally. Well, you don't accidentally hook up with someone, but you know what I'm saying. If we had just met up and slept together, but this feels worse.
What do you think? What would you be more upset by if you were dating a guy for 5.5 years and he had a drunken night where he slept with some girl and then never called her again?
It's like a rhetorical question.
I'm asking a rhetorical question for our fans.
For the Shandies, it's for the Shandies.
This is for you. I'm just talking through you to the Shandies.
I'm a conduit for the Shandies.
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, one drunken slip up versus this long emotional connection you guys have had, which one would be worse?
25, because I would wonder if for our entire relationship he had been kind of 1 foot out the door.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I feel bad for the girlfriend. Sorry.
Yeah, but I feel bad. But the feeling bad has nothing to do with this. The feeling bad,
it does a
has
little.
grown into a
It
maple
does
tree.
a little because she surely knows about Elizabeth, has heard about Elizabeth, and I'm sure the boyfriend's been like, yeah, there's nothing there. And then he's like, oh, Elizabeth reached out. We're talking now. Like they have this like transparency in their relationship, but really he hasn't. Like I just feel a little
I feel bad for her too. But you know what? I'd feel more bad for her if she was with this guy for the next 30 years.
That wins. That's your trump card right there. Yeah. I also have this sneaking suspicion, just based on how you've described their Instagram, that if it were not for Instagram, their relationship might already be over.
Totally.
I feel like we should send her an edible arrangement or something after we finish this recording, because I do feel terrible.
Wait, you send that to people you hate, though?
No, only you.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel really bad.
Listen, because this call has gone on for about 19 hours, I'm going to tell you this right now. You have to meet this guy. You have to meet him soon. You have to get a very clear judge of how the inhuman interaction goes. And you have to set clear lines of play. Right. You can't be like, okay, let's just keep doing this and see how it goes. No, you have to be like, I am not going to be this third person here. It's not fair to anybody. You know, let's do this right. You have to cut off ties here and let's start. But you have to meet him in person for an extended period of time.
Okay, my take is slightly different.
Okay.
It just involves the ball being in a different court. So instead of her laying down all these like lines, I also think you have to meet him in person. And I think that in some ways, even though I do feel bad about the girlfriend, I think that this is your grand gesture moment. So instead of waiting for you to just be in the same place at the same time, you know, you are the one that had amends to make. And you're the one that wronged him or hurt him. Who knows what you did to him by ghosting him? You know, like we'll never really know. But
I do kind of know. He told me that he's never opened up as emotionally vulnerably with a woman since. So
okay,
yeah. So it was apparently him.
Yeah. So for me, this is like it is research, but it's also a gesture to show that you are in this because he has a lot to lose. Yeah. Really.
Right.
And then after you've done that and have made it clear, if you see him in person, in the flesh, and you are still interested, it's like, I like you. I would be interested in pursuing this, but I do not want to be any more involved than I already am in whatever this is. The ball's in your court, and then you back off completely, and it's totally up to him what he ends up doing.
I completely agree. And I want to clarify that when I tell people, like, you need to set these boundaries, you need to do this, I'm not necessarily saying you have to actively tell the person that. You have to, in your mind, set the parameter and not disobey yourself.
I agree. Okay, I think we kind of agree on this.
Yeah. To me, this is clear as day. I don't know what's going to happen after you meet. That's probably another Dear Shandy episode, but you definitely have to meet.
And one final thought before we ask you, your final thoughts. And I've said this before in a caller episode, but I just want to remind you that not to fall into the trap of thinking that the only options you have are the ones you already know about. So don't only think that it's him because that he's the one that has occupied your mind for so long, and you close off yourself to meeting someone who maybe is less attached, a little less complicated. And, there's a lot of people out there. Plenty of fish in the sea, as they say. So that's just my final thought. I'm not saying don't go for it. It's just, something to marinate on. Okay, Elizabeth, is this what you thought we would say?
Okay, maybe I'll do an analogy. How about a Shandy does an analogy for once?
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
This is very meta.
Let's hear it. Let's hear what you got.
I feel like when the Shandys call in, it's like, when you flip a coin or you shake a magic 8-ball, those few seconds before you get your answer reveal the answer that you wanted.
Very nice. Oh.
That is what calling into this podcast is, because all the Shandys out there, we know what we want you to say.
Yes. It's a beautiful analogy.
And we call for the affirmation. So I wanted you to say, yes, go meet up with him and see what happens. I did not know if that's what you would say, but that is the answer that I was fishing for.
I mean, I do believe it would haunt you.
Yeah.
If you do.
It would haunt me. It would haunt me.
We can't have that. I've already traumatized you with the cat. So.
Yeah. Where is that cat, by the way?
I don't know. I think she got tired of hearing me talk for 17 hours.
She's like vomiting in the bathroom.
Yeah, she has to live live with this. Imagine her pain.
Luckily, she doesn't speak English.
Right.
Oh, great analogy.
That's a fantastic analogy.
Yeah.
I'm actually annoyed. I may have to steal that.
Thank you.
Well, Elizabeth, I hope this was what you wanted it to be, that the shaking of the 8 ball is what you had envisioned. And I don't even know if I'm going to ask her if she's going to do it, because I feel like we know she's going to do it.
But you better tell us if you do it and tell us how it goes.
Do you want an update?
Yes.
We do.
Okay.
This is update worthy.
Yes,
Do
definitely.
you want me to tell you? You don't have to include that. Well, you include whatever you want. Do you want me to give you my favorite thing about Dear Shandy as a little pat on the head for enduring this conversation?
Hold on, let me take my pants off.
I can't. I'm Catholic. Remember?
Oh, okay. It's not about you. It's just me. Okay.
Okay. My favorite thing about Dear Shandy is that while there's this levity, right? And there's this joy and this humor. I can tell from both of you, and I have 2 psychology degrees almost, so that's how I can tell, right? I gotta flex the student loans somehow, but I can tell that you both genuinely care about the advice you're giving. It's not this, we're gonna do our hokey little relationship podcast and make a bunch of ad revenue. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can tell that you have a genuine vested
Such a nice
interest.
compliment.
That's so sweet.
It's very genuine, which is why it's compelling, I think.
Wow. That means a lot. I really appreciate that.
It really does mean a lot.
That's a good specific compliment.
Yeah. You've really flexed your Shandy-ness several times in this.
Yeah.
She knew about our purity culture
We may have
episode.
to do Shandy of the Month. This might start a new segment.
And I would be a great bachelor contestant because of my specificity, because I also get bothered by that.
Oh, you would be amazing. If it doesn't work out with this guy, send your application to ABC.
Yeah.
And you've got the whole and you've got the Catholic thing. That's it. They love that stuff.
I know. That'll be the whole plot twist. I'll wait till the fantasy suites and reveal it on the last night.
Yes.
Oh, I would tune into that.
And we'll call that episode something about blue balls.
Elizabeth,
Haven't thought of it yet.
What a delight you have been. My goodness.
Yeah.
So much energy and specificity and great storytelling. And, there's a lot of nuance to this story. Like, I can see why you kept in every detail that you did.
Yeah.
And it helped.
I can see why you talked so much.
It gave us a lot of color to work with here. And
Often people who talk the most have the most intricate lives because there's a lot to say.
That is not true at all.
Okay.
I could not disagree more.
I take that back.
She's a lovely example of someone who
I've never
talks.
said something stupider than that. I'm just so overwhelmed by all the compliments that I'm trying to manufacture nice things to say.
He doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, no.
You just talk too much.
Yeah.
That's it.
Shockingly, you're not the first person to tell me that. So.
Oh, it's very sweet. It's very sweet. Thank you for the kind words and the great story.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for calling in and for trusting us with
thank you
genuine
for
advice. And keep us posted and have a great night. Thank you.
Good luck.
You too. Thank you. I'll tell the cat that Andy said hi.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I mean, she was delightful.
Amazing.
So much energy.
Yeah.
She had the energy of a 23-year-old.
She really did. She did. I was like, all right, that's enough now. Your parents are all tuckered out.
Mom and dad need their sleep.
Yeah.
No, she was really sweet. And, in retrospect, like there was, I think 20 minutes in, we were both like, okay, wow, do we need all these details? But we really did need every detail that she gave.
She said a lot with as few words I think as possible, which is a credit to her.
Yes. This is one of those tricky ones where there's a morality factor here, which is inconvenient to think about. But it's there.
It's low. In the genre of home wrecking, this is extremely low, I think.
Well, we don't know how low it is because we're taking her word for it based on him.
Yeah,
her taking his word for it.
We don't have anything else to go on.
Yeah, if we're going to take her word for it and she's taking his word for it, then they're already rocky.
Yeah.
They've moved in together, moved out. There's been it hasn't been smooth sailing. It's probably been heading
towards high school relationship.
No, it wasn't since high school. It was after high school.
It was basically on the heels of high school.
Sure,
it's
but
basically a high school relationship.
No, it's clear. Yeah. exactly. But that doesn't make it any less meaningful. I mean, a lot of people, that's their forever relationship, like in the case of my sister.
It is, but usually it's not. Let's be honest.
Usually it's not, but it's tough to know how much of a home wrecking this is.
No kids, no marriage. They aren't technically living together yet. They've been apart for a while. There's some rockiness. Yeah. And he's having a full emotional relationship with another woman that he's been sexually active with in the past. Give me a fucking break.
But won't be any longer.
Yeah, that's it. Sucker.
Okay, but for me, what you said about how what you don't want is the girlfriend to end up with this guy for years longer, only to have something like this happen anyway.
Right.
That's the thing that gets me thinking that even if it is slightly homewreckery, it's not for the worst, but you would still like things. Here's the thing is everyone wants relationship endings, like to be tied up with this tidy little bow, but how often does that ever really happen?
Sometimes you gotta crack some eggs to make an omelet. Actually, you always have to crack eggs to make an omelet. Unless you use that pre-made egg mix, which is disgusting.
It's not disgusting.
It's not great.
You can't get over the mental block of it.
But it's processed and like there's preservatives in there.
I know. I think it's just 100% egg whites.
Egg whites? Oh no, I'm talking about full yellow, like the stuff they use in like in high school when you have like a ginormous tray of scrambled eggs.
Yeah,
or something.
I'm not sure if there's any additives in that. There must be.
No.
There's got to be some sort of a preservative.
You think the guy's sitting there cracking 17,000 eggs all day? No, he has some big jar. Like it's one of those like jars you get of like of like industrial corn syrup, and it's just a jar of egg. It's all yellow, and
and that's oxidizing now.
Oxidizing, preservatives. It's a mess.
Okay.
Anyway, the point is, you always should have to crack some eggs to make an omelet. And in this case, I know you don't always want a home wreck.
No, you never want a home wreck.
To make her life better, to make her life better, to make his life better, it's very possible this egg has to be cracked.
Yeah, I think that she's already done almost everything that she should do in this situation, save actually, like I said, the grand gesture or making that effort to meet him just so that he has a feeling of like what he's receiving too.
Yeah.
And that she's not just on a whim being like, hey, I miss you because I'm single now. You know what I mean? It could easily be perceived that way. At first I was like, why the hell is he moving to Oklahoma? It's such a pain in the ass if he's got her. But then I realized that he may not know he has her.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one. I honestly feel for him. And I know he's kind of cheating emotionally.
Oh, he's in a bad position.
Yeah, I just feel there's a little bit of push-pull here. It sounds like he's been thinking about her a lot, and now she swoops in and he sounds like you said, relationship immature and overwhelmed, as he said in his text. He's just confused.
Yeah.
And above all, we can all agree, as much as this is not as, like I said, tied up with a neat and tidy bow as we would like, the girlfriend in this situation will be better off. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Honestly, if it ends no matter what.
Yes, I agree.
Just based on what...
I agree.
I almost have, I think there's almost an argument to be made that the nicer the Instagram photos, the worse the relationship.
It's sometimes, yes.
Not always, but
our
sometimes.
Instagram photos aren't nice.
Yeah, I mean, I never think my Instagram photos are nice.
I'm just joking.
That's why I never post.
Instagram photos are super nice.
Are they?
Yeah, they're nice.
I don't feel like ours are that nice. Yeah. Sometimes we get dressed up and go to weddings, and those are nice.
Yeah, those are nice. We have nice.
Wait, so oh my god, am I saying that our relationship is bad?
I think if the relationship is too forced, like it's almost like glamour shots of them being in love, then that's a problem.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we definitely answered that one.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a bit of a moral conundrum there, but
there's less to be lost than gained here if it works out the way I think it might.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay. Nice closing statement there, Andy.
Thank you.
She was a true Shandy, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Solid.
Yeah. A lot of references to past episodes. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Oh.
And right down to an analogy and a compliment at the end.
Oh, I mean, I don't know what to do with myself.
It was very sweet.
Yeah. Shandy of the month.
Okay, I think that's a wrap. Mm-hmm. If you enjoyed what you heard today, you know what we will ask of you, and that is to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Leave us Apple and Spotify podcast ratings and reviews, and generally do all of those things that you would do to support a podcast that you enjoy.
Nice.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Dear Shandy. Bye-bye. Dear Shandy.